at midnight on TV8. In Ottumwa, tune to translator channel 74 for better reception of TV8.
Good morning. I'm Charles Kuralt, and this is Sunday Morning. I went to Cambodia once and found it a peaceful place full of smiling people. That was a long time ago. Since then, those smiling people have been killed by Americans, brutalized and murdered by their own communist government, and cruelly exiled by the Vietnamese. One weeps for the gentle Cambodians. They are waiting, those still living, waiting for something to change their lives for the better. They're spending their lives waiting. Our story about them this morning will be told by Rick Fredrickson.
This is Site 8, a refugee camp on the Thai-Cambodian border. 32,000 Cambodian refugees live here under the guns of Vietnamese artillery on the other side of the mountain. Nearly 400,000 refugees and displaced persons live in the mini camps along the border. Most of them have no place to go. Their story later on Sunday Morning.
We'll visit some of the people who once kept the lighthouse lights burning and the one man who still does, the last keeper of the flame. Brett Alexander will tell the story of a man who's finding that life is better than the blues.
When he was only a teenager, Frank Morgan was hailed as the new Charlie Parker. But drugs and jail sidelined his career. He never made it to the top, but he's out now and playing his sax again. We'll meet Frank Morgan later on Sunday Morning.
Ron Powers will be here this morning. He has been watching the new morning program on CBS with a critic's eye. David Jackson joins us from the Philippines to talk about how Corazon Aquino's fragile new democracy is holding up under pressure from left and right. We'll take a look at the innovative art of sculptor Alexander Archipenko on the 100th anniversary of his birth. And we'll review the news of the week just past. Here are the headlines for Sunday morning, the 8th of February. A videotaped message from American hostage Alan Steen was delivered to a Western news agency in Beirut this morning. In the tape, Steen says that he and the 3 other Beirut teachers who were kidnapped about 2 weeks ago will be killed if Israel doesn't free 400 Arab prisoners by midnight tomorrow. An extremist group holding other hostages in Beirut has released a statement charging that Anglican envoy Terry Waite was helping the United States plan an invasion of Lebanon, that he was wearing a radio transmitter to help pinpoint terrorist hideouts. Terry Waite is still missing in Lebanon, in spite of rumors yesterday that he had been freed. The Washington Post has obtained a memo written by George Bush's chief of staff that tells of a secret meeting between the vice president and an Israeli official last July. The memo says Bush was told the arms sales negotiations involved radical elements in Iran, not the moderates President Reagan says he was trying to reach. It also indicates that the arms sales would be in exchange for hostages.
Round and round it goes.
If you drove a Volvo 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year for 3 years, you'd still be covered by Volvo's 3-year unlimited mileage warranty. Of course, Volvo doesn't stop there.
Where it stops, nobody knows.
Volvo, a car company you can believe in.
Select your new Volvo now at Dave Ostrom Imports, Des Moines Automotive Showcase.
Lancome invites you into the future of skincare with a scientific discovery. Neosom System Anti-Age, a daytime skin treatment that helps to recreate the structure of a young-looking skin. Neosom, not a cream or a lotion, but a system of microspheres that carry anti-aging ingredients to where your skin needs them most.
Neosom, used in the daytime, makes your skin look and feel younger than you ever thought possible.
Neosom, Lancome, Paris.
Available at Yonkers.
Honey, are we going to have enough donuts for tomorrow?
Yes, dear.
There's always a lot of people at Pioneer Days, and we are offering that great discount this year.
dear, there'll be plenty of donuts.
And with that free gift, we could have even more people.
George, there'll be enough donuts.
You sure?
George.
We're hungry.
We went to America's premier waterbed frame manufacturer and negotiated price discounts of 35% on over $3 million worth of bedroom furniture. And now at Big Sur Waterbeds, we're passing the savings along to you. During this special purchase, you can choose the most unique waterbed designs, the highest quality bedroom furniture, the most sought-after looks, all at savings never offered before. Don't miss this $3 million special purchase, only at Big Sur Waterbeds, 3715 Merle Hay Road at Douglas in Des Moines.
For a while last week, it appeared Wall Street Journal reporter Gerald Seib might have become another of many foreigners held hostage in the Middle East. He was arrested by the government of Iran and accused of being an Israeli spy. But for Gerald Seib, the week ended happily with his release. He was flown to Zurich, where he was met by his wife.
I'm thrilled and thankful to be here. This happens to be my 31st birthday. And just being here is the best birthday present possible.
Seib said he didn't know why he was arrested or how he was released.
All I know is that any suggestion I was involved in any kind of espionage is completely false. I'm a journalist, and that's all I am.
In Hays, Kansas, Gerald Seib's family was thrilled and thankful, too.
We've got a cake coming.
We've got a cake coming.
We're going to drink the bubbly today.
There were no celebrations in Beirut. Students demonstrated for the release of 4 Beirut University teachers held hostage, and there were more threats to kill the hostages if the United States attempts to use military force. U.S. battleships maneuvered off the coast of Lebanon. America's European allies condemned the actions.
I think the whole build-up and the increase in tension in the area is positively counterproductive, and indeed could be dangerous as far as the lives of the hostages, both American and European, are concerned.
The whereabouts of hostage negotiator Terry Waite remained a mystery. Shiite militia leader Nabi Berri announced that Terry Waite would soon be free.
And where he might be.
He is kidnapped now.
President Reagan celebrated his 76th birthday. Nancy Reagan made light of reports that the president has lost touch with his administration.
I thought they were ridiculous. And anybody who's been in some meetings with him lately would tell you the same thing.
William Casey resigned as director of the CIA. He remains in the hospital following surgery to remove a brain tumor. It is unlikely he will ever testify about his role in the Iran-Contra arms scandal. Deputy CIA Director Robert Gates was nominated to succeed Casey. He may have to testify about what he knew of the arms deals.
There's a door that interconnects their 2 offices. In my time, that door was constantly flying open in one direction or the other, and there was very little, if anything, that I didn't share fully with my deputy.
Both houses of Congress voted by wide margins to override President Reagan's veto of a bill to spend $20 billion to clean up the nation's water. Carlos Ledare, a billionaire reputed to be one of the most powerful and dangerous traffickers in cocaine, was arrested in Colombia and extradited to the United States for trial.
It is true that Ledare and other traffickers have threatened retaliation for extraditions and have assassinated many Colombian officials in the past.
The people of the Philippines voted overwhelmingly for a new constitution that will allow Corazon Aquino to be president until 1992. Communist rebels rejected Mrs. Aquino's appeal to extend a 60-day ceasefire. They renewed attacks on soldiers in the north. Stars and Stripes sailed to a 4-0 victory over Australia's Kookaburra 3 to take possession of the America's Cup. After becoming the first American to lose the Cup 4 years ago, skipper Dennis Conner became the first American to win it back. A little glitter and dazzle went out of the world last week. Liberace died.
don't blame you for laughing. You know, sometimes I look at all this stuff and I can hardly believe it myself.
This portion of Sunday Morning is sponsored by GMAC, the financial services people from General Motors.
The American dream is one of hope and possibilities. We're GMAC, people who help make dreams come true. First, we made automobile financing easy. Now, home mortgages, financing for a boat, even MIC insurance to keep your dreams safe. We're the financial services people from General Motors. GMAC, official sponsor of America's dreams.
Stovetop stuffing in canisters makes a lot or a little in one easy step.
When you want dishes quick and delicious, you can be flexible with Stovetop tonight.
It's the right stuff, always enough. It's great for me at home with the TV.
Have it for you or fix it for two more. It serves from 1 to 8 just right. Be flexible with Stovetop tonight.
In flexible serve canisters.
I can't believe you talked me into this.
Admit it. It's just too good to resist.
You're right. So, what's it called?
Fruit and...
Forget the fiber in fruit and fiber. You're gonna love it just for the taste.
Only Fruit and Fiber has all these lush combinations, overflowing with sweet fruit, fresh, crunchy nuts, and surrounded with the highest fiber flakes.
This is the greatest.
You're gonna love it just for the taste.
Post Fruit and Fiber cereal. Tastes so good you forget the fiber.
How much can you save on 18 new Buick models? It's your option. You can save up to $1,200 depending on the amount of optional equipment you buy on a wide variety of new Buicks. You'll also get something that isn't optional. Buick's new 6-year, 60,000-mile warranty. It's truly a better time to buy, so see your participating Buick dealer for details now. The amount you save is optional. The 660 warranty is standard at Buick, where better really matters.
Most of the people who live in the refugee camps on the Thai-Cambodian border, including the children, have seen horrors that should exist only in hell. They have seen their families killed by soldiers or watched them slowly die of starvation. They have witnessed the destruction of their homes and villages in Cambodia, and they have taken refuge in Thailand, in camps where war and illness and starvation are still not very far away. It's not hell exactly. It's a kind of purgatory where hundreds of thousands of people are waiting for a better life. Rick Fredrickson tells the story from Thailand.
We thought it was over in 1975 when America left Cambodia.
CH-53 helicopters lifted off from Phnom Penh, headed for the Gulf of Thailand, ending still another phase in the American involvement in Indochina.
But the nightmare was to continue for the Cambodians, the Khmer people. This is how it was in June 1980.
Tens of thousands of Cambodians have been forced to seek shelter along the dikes of waterlogged rice paddies a few miles inside Thailand. They huddle under blue plastic.
And this is how it was in December 1984.
60,000 refugees from Cambodia strain already crowded facilities on the Thai side of the border. And more may be on the way.
For 10 years, the Khmers have been ravaged by misfortune. America bombed eastern Cambodia during the Vietnam War. Later, more than 1 million Khmers were slaughtered by their own communist government, the Khmer Rouge. Finally, they had to flee the invading Vietnamese. This is Site 8, a refugee camp along the Thai-Cambodian border. Behind the mountains is Vietnamese artillery within easy range of the refugees. These Cambodians and hundreds of thousands of other refugees along the Thai border are trapped between the past and the future, in an atmosphere of uncertainty and fading hope.
In 1986 marked the second decade of the Indo-Chinese refugee crisis.
Mark Gorman is the field director for the International Rescue Committee in Bangkok.
In terms of a solution, I think it's just as elusive. I think in the early days of the emergency, people felt that the crisis would pass in a few months. I don't think anybody you would talk to today would say that they hope for a solution in the next few years. Although these people are housed and sheltered and fed, there's still very much a mood of an emergency in place.
Kim Orn, what was his white count?
The white count is less than before. It comes to 200,000.
200,000? No, it can't be right. My name is Louis Braille from the Seattle area in the state of Washington. It's down to 20,000, you mean? Yeah. When I come here to work on the border, I often do pediatrics.
We've got one.
Here on the border, operate a medical care system which in some ways is very, very primitive. We can give intravenous fluids, but we do not have the laboratory backup to do it in a very scientific and sophisticated way. If you feel that, Kim Orn, feel it. It has a hard feel to it, doesn't it? That's not a very good sign. Yeah.
What did you and your colleague, your Khmer colleague, find with the one patient, the little boy with the lump under his arm? What is his problem?
That lump is most probably a lymph node, which is enlarged, and it can enlarge as a result of infection. But in this boy's case, one would be most suspicious that he has leukemia.
So what would the prognosis be in a border refugee camp for him?
Virtually negative.
And the second baby, 36. Yeah. What happened yesterday? She had fever? No fever.
Bernadette Glees is a nurse midwife from Belgium. She's been with the Khmers for 5 years.
Okay, so what is your plan? What medicine now?
I am in charge of the obstetric wards. I say in charge because I'm teaching the workers, but the Khmer workers are doing most of the work. Where do you hear? Where do you hear? Tell me where. Huh? You hear this on that side? Huh? Yeah? Or sometimes we can have 10 births in a day or night. Like I say, mostly at night, but we have about average of 6 deliveries per day. Some days 10, some days 2, depends. Premature babies, twins, breech deliveries, anything. The children mean hope to them because it's life and they really want to survive through that situation. They don't see how, they don't know how this will happen, but if they give up and sit down and wait, they know that nothing will happen. And they want to go back home someday and they don't give up.
I'm the field coordinator of the United Nations Border Relief Operation. My name's John Moore. I've been with this operation for 5 years now. What we do is send food and other relief supplies to 8 evacuation sites stretching along the Thai-Cambodian-Thai border.
What are you talking about in terms of the vastness of your distribution program? Numbers?
Well, numbers, first of all, people, that's the most important number. There's 250,000 people in these 8 sites. One of the sites alone, Site 2, there's 145,000 people. The one camp where we have a big water problem is our largest camp. And to that camp, we have to send in about 206 truckloads of water every day. Now, in terms of food, it amounts to about 160 tons a day of food going to all the border camps. I think as far as basic needs goes, we're doing very well. We're winning the fight, but you have to underline basic, because it is very basic.
I think one of the problems that we voluntary agency people discuss is, do we continue to be part of the problem?
Mark Gorman of the International Rescue Committee.
If we were not there, would the refugees continue to come out of Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam? I don't think there's an answer to that, and I wouldn't propose leaving to find out if that was the case.
Concern is that if we aren't here to help those people, that there is no one to help them. Those people are in these camps. They don't want to be in the camps. They want to return. They voted with their feet in the first instance, sometimes walking, often running to get here. And someday, if they vote with their feet to return, then we will be very happy to say goodbye. So I see it happening. And not in the near future. That's it's a very tricky political problem, and it would be nice if the world could agree on solving this problem, because I think it's a world problem.
And then they're going to
For this year, 1987, the United States has set a ceiling of 70,000 refugees worldwide who will be admitted to America. Of that total, 32,000 can be from Indochina. Last year, it was 37,000. There are rules to determine just who is a refugee.
I think it's a good thing that the refugee inflow in the United States is so well controlled.
Lacey Wright is counselor for Refugee and Migration Affairs at the U.S. Embassy in Bangkok.
What is the criteria that you must use in deciding who comes and who stays?
There are essentially 2 criteria. The first is the person fleeing persecution? That, of course, is, you know, is the essential element in the definition of a refugee. Does he have a well-founded fear of persecution? Secondly, the United States accepts people as refugees, generally speaking, who have some kind of relationship with the United States. Either some past association with our government, and you can see that most clearly, for example, among those Vietnamese who fought with us. The other kind is a family relationship. People here in refugee camps who have relatives in the United States.
Do you like living here?
No, I don't like living here.
Why?
Because in the United States, I have my grandmother and my uncle.
You miss them?
Yes.
So our taking his picture is the only hope he has now of getting out of this refugee camp?
Yes.
Do you know the father's last name?
No.
Well, you have a generation maturing or growing up in a refugee camp. what is the next step when these 10-year-olds enter adolescence and they don't see much of a future? I think potentially it's a very grim picture. I think there is a lot of desperation.
But they say, you know, we smile during the day and we cry at night. We cry at night.
Father Pierre Serac is with the Catholic Office for Emergency Relief and Refugees. He's been with the refugees for 6 years.
They are reaching the end of their endurance. Though they are very resilient people. They are very strong and very courageous. Incredible, their courage. But 10, 11 years, I think, about the limit. And many would like to quit or to go to a third country. And that's why I think really the time has come for third countries to welcome them. I don't think we have got the right to refuse people today. Because the world belongs to the family of man, not to few privileged nations. The time has come for the nation of the world to open their doors to these people. They've got the right to live with dignity. And I think I'm grateful to USA. I have told many of my US friends, you proudly call your country, it's very beautiful, the land of the brave and the land of the free. For God's sake, these are brave people. And I've got the right to be free one day.
Raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Since 1975, 140,000 Cambodian refugees have been admitted to the United States. For many of them, the journey started here at Khao Dong, one of the first refugee camps to be set up near the border. The Thai government is closing Khao Dong, but the day we were there, 239 refugees were preparing to leave for other countries, 155 of them to the United States. Among that group was Nakri Nang and her 10-year-old son, Ok Sothi. 2 other sons died of starvation in Cambodia. Her husband, an officer in the Cambodian army, was taken by the Khmer communists and is presumed dead. It is not likely that they will ever see their homeland again, or others in the family who have been accepted by Australia, or the friends they shared a life with in the camps.
This portion of Sunday Morning is sponsored by Apple Computer, makers of Macintosh Personal Computer, the business solution that gives you the power to be your best.
This is Captain again. We now expect to arrive at Kennedy Airport around 6:40 a.m.
I see you've got homework, too.
It never ends. You'd think when you get to this point, things would get easier.
Yeah, I know. It looks like that was quite a project.
Yeah, it was. Have a look. No trade secrets here.
Thanks. Impressive. I wish we could do work like this, but we have to crank it out every week.
We do ours every week.
Well, we can't afford to farm ours out. We have to do them on a computer.
We did this on our computer.
You did that on a computer?
Of course.
we farmed him out, I couldn't afford to ride up here.
An investment firm is only as impressive as it is responsive.
Let's go.
So when interest rates fell, we looked for new ways for our clients to make money and developed unique opportunities like the Prudential Real Estate Investment Trust, a first of its kind in a way to take advantage of changing markets. While others may imitate it, we're busy surpassing it. If anyone can show you bold new thinking in the business of making money,
let's close it.
It's Prudential Beach, rock solid, market-wise.
This is the beginning. The all-new Chrysler LeBaron. Beauty with a passion for driving. Advanced front-wheel drive traction. Positive response suspension. Fuel-injected high-torque power. Choose precision 5-speed. Heart-pounding turbo. All with Chrysler's new 770 protection plan. New LeBaron from Chrysler. Driving to be the best.
Tonight on CBS, stay tuned for a musical mystery when Sean Cassidy guests on Murder, She Wrote. Then Charlene's high school friend shows up, and guess what she does for a living?
She's practicing the world's oldest profession.
Monette the carpenter?
Designing women, and
Call your sister.
Oh, sorry, my dog whistles in the shop.
the premiere of Nothing is Easy. Then Blake fights to free a young girl accused of murder.
Free the innocent. File a great story.
But the question still remains.
Who killed my daughter?
Hard copy tonight.
This is CBS.
Armour remembers.
Remember when you lost your first tooth? You thought you'd really miss it. But when it turned into a quarter, you didn't miss it so much. Well, today there's Armour's lower salt meats and cheeses, and you're afraid you'll miss that salt. Same great Armour taste, lower salt and all. Now that's something you can sink your teeth into. Lower salt bacon, ham, meats, and cheeses from Armour.
For a delicious meal, you just can't find a better place than the Choice All-You-Care-to-Eat Smorgasbord. A bountiful soup and salad bar, large variety of entrees, open flame broiler with barbecued ribs, evenings and Sundays, there's even shish kebabs and royal roast baron of beef. Now the Choice introduces for lunch and dinner Oriental stir-fry shrimp, a delicious blend of shrimp and crisp vegetables stir-fried on the grill. All this under $4 for lunch, under $5 for dinner. Try the Choice All-You-Care-to-Eat Smorgasbord. 1801 22nd Street. You're on TV8, KCCI TV, Des Moines.
It's Sunday morning on CBS, and here again is Charles Kuralt.
And now the last keeper of the flame. It was never just a job, the job of lighthouse keeper. It was a calling. Now it's not even going to be a job any longer. This morning we lift our sailing caps to the lighthouse keepers.
I feel very sad because I feel I've left a part of me to the ships and to the sea and those who depended on the lights that we tended.
This is the stuff of songs and stories, to climb to the top of a tower and light a flame that guides ships past the shoals and headlands and safely into port. At the turn of this century, America's ocean shores and waterways were dotted by 1,000 lighthouses. All of them had keepers, men and women who lived to keep the lights burning. Only 23 manned lighthouses are left. Soon there will be just one. The lighthouse keeper is stepping into history.
It's with some sadness that we're gathered here to mark the end of an era for this lighthouse. The light will still shine, and the horn will still sound, but for the first time in 165 years, there will be no people here to tend the light. to the last 4 keepers of the light. You're the last in a long chain of light keepers here at the Isles of Shoals.
Kind of sad about it. We used to get in touch with one another occasionally, months before. But now I'm the last one, so there's no one to get in touch with.
Yes, romance certainly is gone. And in 1989, there won't be any left.
The keepers of the lights have stood up to wind and water, but time and technology have defeated them. They're being replaced by batteries, by electronics. Once, lighthouse lamps were fueled by whale oil. The flame in the tower goes way back into human history. It's always been a symbol of trust and sympathy and solicitude.
It gives me a sense of peace and security and the knowledge that it has been a fortress or a sentinel for so many people to save their lives in the ship. And I think I feel that very keenly, that I helped do that. And that tower is a part of me.
Constance Small lived in lighthouses along the New England coast for almost 30 years. Her husband Elson was the official keeper, but together they tended the light and bell that ships depended upon. It was more than a job. It was a calling. They followed their calling on desolate Avery Rock, Maine in the 1920s and on Doshit Island, Maine in the 30s and 40s.
I was always a timid child, very timid. I was afraid of the water and I was afraid of height. And I had to go into both. We were very close to nature, and nature became very important in our lives.
Nature wasn't always kind. Constance Small remembers one snowy day when her husband had gone ashore. She had to start the bell, but the bell striker had broken down. She had to ring the bell by hand.
And I started pulling on those ropes, counting 1, 2, until I thought I had 15 seconds. And then I pulled the rope twice, because the characteristic of that bell was 2 strokes every 15 seconds. And I pulled it for an hour and a half till my hands were so blistered I just could not pull it another stroke. And I thought, oh, what am I going to do? So finally I got down on my knees and looked up under the machine, and the hammer that struck the bell, the joint had come apart. And so I worked and got that together and put the cotter pin in, and it went just fine.
This is this typical old bell striker, and unfortunately there are no more.
Ken Black is a former Coast Guard commander, and he's a lighthouse history buff. At his Shore Village Museum in Rockland, Maine, he is surrounded by the click of old lamp changers and the thump of fog signals removed from lighthouses that have been automated.
The principal reason that all of these beautiful lenses are being removed is simply that they require a great deal of maintenance. And once you take the people off, there's nobody there to maintain them, so you have to replace them with something simple. I can pick that whole thing up with 2 fingers. And as I said, that's the most modern. This is what it replaced.
Even after electricity came to the lighthouse, somebody still had to be there to keep a watchful eye out for fog. No machine could do that until they developed the fog detector. Frank Schubert is the last civilian lightkeeper in this country. He has lived in lighthouses in New York Harbor since 1937. Every day he climbs the 87 steps to the top of Coney Island Light, where he's been keeper since 1960.
You clean the lens, check the lamp,
and check everything that's operating, make sure everything is operating right, so that when the light goes on at night, you don't have any problems with it.
Frank Schubert has been more than just a light keeper. He's been his brother's keeper.
Quite a few times we had to take the people off the rocks here. There was a man, his 3 children, and his grandfather, or rather his father. We had to take them all off the boat. The engine conked out, and then they ended up on the rocks down here, and the seas were getting rather heavy. Just about the time we got the last one off the boat, she was pretty well disintegrated with the pounding on the rocks.
Up and down the coast, there never was a light keeper without fabulous tales to tell.
One time we had a bad storm. I was really frightened because the sea would bury us all out. When that sea would hit that rock, you could feel a vibration. It was that powerful. And so you can imagine how it felt when it was coming with tons of water down on top of your house, covering you all out.
Constance Small remembers periods of many months when she didn't see anyone but her husband.
I think a lot of it I missed, too, was hearing other people's voices. You know, it's wonderful to be together, and our relationship was wonderful. But you still needed to hear other voices, which you didn't. Elson could go ashore for the mail, and he would enter in the discussions and get the news, and his mind would be refreshed. But you see, I had little, well, I didn't have any contact, you see, and so my mind wasn't challenged the way that his was.
Their last station was Portsmouth Light, New Hampshire. That was in 1948. We brought her back to remember.
We walked around the catwalk of the tower, and that's when he asked me how I felt leaving the lighthouse life. And I said, well, I felt sad. I did. I felt very sad. I felt so lost in a way, because it seems though I'd given the most of my life to the sea and the ships that had depended on the lights we tended. So finally, we went back in the tower, and he said, it's time to extinguish the light.
For almost 50 years in New York Harbor, Frank Schubert has been guardian to a light and witness to great ships sailing outward and returning. 3 years from now, when all of America's lighthouses are automated, he'll still be there. The whole epic story of the lighthouse keeper will come down to this one man in this one place.
Asked for a fighter to be based right at the front, so McDonnell Douglas built the AV-8B. Hospitals asked for a way out of the paper blizzard, so we build the information systems now used in 1 out of 5 U.S. hospitals. Airlines want to save fuel, so we're testing aircraft with new kinds of jet engines to cut fuel consumption over 40%. We're creating breakthroughs in aviation, space, and information systems. We're McDonnell Douglas.
Canon's new personal copiers come in 4 colors and copy in 5.
Red's your color.
And this replaceable cartridge makes them simple, even for you.
Lighten up, Jack.
They are light. Here.
What a guy.
For information, call toll-free 1-800-OK-Canon.
So these are Tyson chicken chunks. Mmm, golden crispy outside. 100% tender chicken inside. Mmm, delicious.
Tyson chicken chunks. Great tasting chicken in a bite-sized chunk.
She is the mystery.
I don't care where you come from. Alaska will get you.
Alaska is the story that my father told of swift rivers running with salmon and gold. Alaska is so many things I have never known. Alaska is the warming sun calling me home. Alaska.
Sophisticated shape of Mercury Sable. Let it take you away. Mercury, the shape you want to be in.
Ron Powers joins us now with his reflections on the new CBS Morning Program. Ron?
Charles, a few days ago, the science section of my local newspaper announced that the search for antimatter is showing results. Imagine that. I didn't even know astronomers watched morning television. But I think they're onto something. The new CBS Morning Program does seem capable of hurtling mankind past all known frontiers of fluff and into a parallel universe that exists by devouring certain particles from the video galaxy as we know it. I'll put all of that into layman's language in a moment. First, let's train our detector grids on the subject itself.
What do you usually have for breakfast?
I usually have some toast and coffee. How about you?
Me? Oh, I have what I call a Hartley wall banger.
What's that?
Well, it's
It's the morning. In case you're unclear about this, the morning program is not a hard news and information show.
And here they are, Mariette and Rollins.
It is produced by CBS Entertainment, with brief news summaries supplied by CBS News.
The top stories this morning: West German police may have one of the two hijackers who seized a TWA.
And that's fine. The world as we know it will not come to an end if the morning program now and then allows itself a dainty chuckle.
It's a Thursday. You guys do that to me every morning. And every Thursday in the morning program, you can count on Movie Watch.
I'm sorry. And the man we count on. I have a question as a mother. I carried 2 full-term infants.
And let's give credit where it's due. Mariette Hartley, the actress hired to be the show's star, is not half bad in her role as interviewer.
What about siblings in your family? Did they get, what was their reaction? Did they get attached to this child and then not understand why it disappeared?
My children participated in the decision process of me.
Okay, she may not make you forget David Hartman, or even Mary Hartman, but on this level, the morning program is at least a harmless way to pass the time, sort of like pressing an elevator button that's already lighted, except it takes longer. And there's the rub. You can't do 90 minutes on surrogate mothers. That's not entertainment. And in its almost pathological frenzy to be entertaining, the scientific term for this is flop sweat, the morning program becomes antimatter.
If you think
my introduction?
Oh, here we go. If you think our foreign policy is real funny, wait till you hear this morning's comedy talent.
So anyway, we still got this nut Gaddafi to deal with, the guy that changed the spelling of his name from newspaper to newspaper.
This show is not just neutral about serious news. It doesn't just leave news alone.
Coming up, dumb news. I can hardly wait.
You'll love it. You'll love it. Oh, you're going to love it.
It mocks and mimics the concept of news.
Washington. To prove that nuclear power is safe, 59-year-old Galen Windsor regularly eats radioactive dust.
I tell you, every day and every night, we do need blood, and it is necessary to save many people's lives at times, so the public should be aware.
I give blood every day because shaving is just a bear. Right?
It smugly chews up and spits out the very notion that human life outside the studio has any scale or value beyond fodder for a punchline.
I was asked if Mariette faints when she gives blood, could my mother take over the show for the rest of the day? Would that be okay? She's great. You'll love it. Is she? Yeah.
Had enough? Actually, this kind of video antimatter is not new at all. The form has been around at least since 1974, when network programmers decided the American public wanted to lighten up a little after the Vietnam and Watergate years. But it's starting to wear a little thin, this spectacle of well-dressed, fatuous people behaving the way they suppose their blue-collar audience behaves. That audience is wising up. Young filmmakers and novelists and even music video makers are starting to find strength in rendering real, ordinary people dealing with the real, gritty world. It'll take a couple of years, but mainstream television will finally catch on. And then shows like the morning program will be, in the familiar words of the cast, out of time.
Come home with me to Tennessee.
Come visit the home of the king, the home of the blues, and world record fishing.
You ought to see the one that got away.
Welcome to Tennessee, a place that'll take you back in time to the days of Casey Jones, the Civil War, and long before.
Do polar bears grow in Tennessee?
They sure do, and ducks live in hotels.
You know your success at harvest will be determined by your success at controlling weeds. So this spring, you'll be looking for the best grass control at the best cost, and that's Dual. With Dual this year, you'll get that excellent control at a lower cost in most cases than ever before. Which means your grass control will look even better in the long run. Longer-lasting Dual. The best control now costs less.
Lancome invites you into the future of skincare with a scientific discovery. Neosome System Anti-Age, a daytime skin treatment that helps to recreate the structure of a young-looking skin. Neosome, not a cream or a lotion, but a system of microspheres that carry anti-aging ingredients to where your skin needs them most.
Neosome, used in the daytime, makes your skin look and feel younger than you ever thought possible.
Neosome, Lancome Paris.
Available at Yonkers.
It's a February flash from Conway Buick. For a limited time, get up to $1,200 cash back on options. That's right, up to $1,200 cash back, and now get a 6-year, 60,000-mile warranty and a 6-year, 100,000-mile corrosion protection. Our selection is great. Over 200 new Buicks in stock. Up to $1,200 cash back, an impressive warranty, and our huge selection make now the best time to buy a new Buick. It's a February flash at Iowa's largest Buick dealer, Conway Buick, 17th and Ingersoll, Des Moines.
We're going to spend a few minutes now with the art of Alexander Archipenko, a Ukrainian-born sculptor who was one of the pioneers of modern art. This year is the 100th anniversary of Alexander Archipenko's birth. The National Gallery in Washington is celebrating with an exhibition of his art. In the early 1900s, he left Russia for Paris, where he worked alongside Picasso, Duchamp, Braque, and Gris. He was one of the first artists to apply the principles of Cubism to sculpture. During the 20s, Archipenko was considered by some people to be the greatest sculptor in the world. His favorite subject was the female form. For half a century, Alexander Archipenko followed one simple creed. The artist's most precious faculty is invention. His was a life of invention.
Part metal, part wood, part glass.
Archipenko used wood, metal, glass, pieces of mirror, anything he came across in his sculpture. While other sculptors were just beginning to experiment with unconventional materials, Archipenko tried them all. Often he put these new materials together in a single piece of art. If I were a futurist, he said, I would say that any sculpture in a single material, in bronze or marble or wood, is a lie. Archipenko believed that the forms he created, like the forms in nature, should have both shape and color. He began to paint his sculptures, thus inventing a new art form, the sculpto-painting.
Where's the glass on this?
I think it's right
There. It's like a bottle.
Light being one of the materials Archipenko discovered in the world around him. He used light in his art.
There's two eyes. No, look right inside. But look, don't look at the shadow, look inside.
He was interested in the spaces created by his sculptures. He called them the voids. Mr. Archipenko expresses himself by the absence of things, one American critic wrote. Rather cosmic, is he not?
Just look at the 2 miles high. The scale is fabulous.
Alexander Archipenko spent his later years in the United States, where he was inspired by surrealist painting and organic forms. What Plato said about ideas is true, Archipenko said. One can get them everywhere. Everything exists in the universe. Come, take it if you can.
I'm Leslie Stahl. Death threats against American hostages. Lebanese leader Nabi Berri and ambassadors from Iran and Israel on Face the Nation today.
It's an all-out 50-mile sprint in Daytona by some of NASCAR's fastest. The Busch Clash. See it live today on CBS Sports.
This is CBS.
This Saturday and Sunday only, AA&A Liquidators will be here with hundreds of authentic handmade Persian and Oriental wool rugs, all colors, all sizes. Own a beautiful sculptured Chinese, retail price $4,500, liquidation price just $895. Or a decorator Dury, retail $250, now only $49. Every rug has a certificate of authenticity, and you'll find prices from $49 to $4,500. Saturday and Sunday only at the Holiday Inn, 5000 Merle Hay Road in Urbandale, I-35 and I-80 at Merle Hay Road, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Holiday Inn, Urbandale.
TV8 News takes you there to Lorimar, where TV8's Mike Day reports the EPA is investigating a vacant lot filled with toxic chemicals. Some classrooms in Des Moines are getting cramped, and TV8's Michelle Parker reports the school district may reopen schools closed 10 years ago. And using a new law for the first time, Des Moines police confiscate a house allegedly used for drug sales. Be a part of it all. News Alive on TV8.
Catch the news alive, TV8. Be a part of it all.
This is KCCI, TV8 in Des Moines.
This portion of Sunday Morning is sponsored by Mercury, the shape you want to be in.
Discover the new shape of Mercury Cougar. The dream lives on. Mercury, the shape you want to be in.
Come on, admit it. It was a great shot. For a beginner. Beginner, 2 out of 3, pal. 2 out of 3.
I think you're still trying to get even because I have the higher grade point average.
Yeah, and as I recall, the lower starting salary.
Yeah, but at the hottest shop in town.
Yeah, as an assistant to an assistant.
Oh, okay. So who was first as a vice president?
And last with a corner office.
But if I can land the North Bay project?
Yeah?
I'm talking senior partnership.
Really? How's it look?
You tell me.
What a production. You guys must have had outside help on this one.
No way. We put the whole thing together ourselves.
Come on.
No, really. We did everything on our computer.
Revenue projections, impact studies?
Everything.
So, what kind of computer?
Whoa, I'm running late.
Come on, what kind of computer?
It's Sunday morning on CBS, and here again is Charles Kuralt.
The 60-day ceasefire in the Philippines has ended, the one between communist rebels and government forces there, and we thought this might be a good morning to talk to David Jackson in Manila. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Charles.
Well, what does this mean? That the rebels are going to leave the conference table and go back into the jungles and villages and start fighting Mrs. Aquino again?
Well, they left the negotiating table well over a week ago after the massacre at Mendiola Bridge. Both sides indefinitely suspended talks. The ceasefire lapsed automatically today when the communist side wouldn't come back to the table. We're not quite sure what their next step is. The Philippine military says it has a plan of gradual escalation of military activity against rebels who don't want to come to terms.
This looked from this side of the ocean like a good opportunity for the rebels to work their way into Mrs. Aquino's government in some way. Did they find that it just didn't work out that way? She didn't give enough for their taste, or what?
Well, what the rebels, I think, have really been after in the long run, for a long time, is participation in the government. And Mrs. Aquino has made clear that they would not be allowed a place in the government. I think that's what they really found to be something they couldn't fight, and if they can't get that, they're saying, why talk? They've laid down conditions for returning to the bargaining table, some of which are really unattainable. But there is still a hope in leftist circles here that perhaps a tacit ceasefire, not an official ceasefire, may continue for a while, and maybe the two sides will eventually get back together.
Do the communist rebels, David, have, as a practical matter, any chance of succeeding? I mean, Mrs. Aquino's just won a big victory for her constitution. She appears to have most of the people of the Philippines on her side.
Well, there was a comment in one of the newspapers today from one of the local pundits saying that guerrilla fighters in any guerrilla war have to swim in waters of popular support.
Right, that's what I was thinking of, yeah.
Right. And after this great constitutional victory for Mrs. Aquino, the gentleman is quoted as saying the NPA guerrillas, the New People's Army, now find themselves as fishes swimming against a receding tide.
Well, so far we've made things sound very rosy for Mrs. Aquino, but in fact, she's still walking a bit of a tightrope, isn't she, between the military and the rebels?
She is indeed. She's buffeted on both sides, from left and right. But I think since that constitutional victory, there may be a little less buffeting going on. A lot of the right-wing politicians, former Defense Minister Enrile, for one, are sounding a lot quieter now than they did before, seeing perhaps the enormity of her victory. They're talking now about going back home, working for a true opposition party, trying to get their candidates into the Senate and the House in the May elections. So it's not going to be the coup of the month like it seemed sometimes in the past year. It looks like everybody on the right anyway, most on the right, are anxious now to get back into the mainstream. The left wing, the rebels, well, we're still not sure exactly what they're going to do.
And we haven't exhausted the catalog of problems in the Philippines. Mrs. Aquino hasn't done anything to help out the economy, not very much, and the whole problem of land reform, the demonstration that led to the death of all those farmers in front of the palace, still is going to be a nagging, urgent problem for her, isn't it?
Land reform is a problem that goes back centuries here. The Spanish colonialists introduced it. And to this day, land gives wealth and political power, so it's a tough system to break. The Aquino government today announced a new plan of land reform, an ambitious new plan with high-minded goals of sharing land, giving some of the landless peasants their own plots, and the wherewithal to make it work. Other plans have been announced and been tried in the past without much success.
Well, I think most people over here admire Mrs. Aquino's efforts to walk through that Philippine minefield. Do you suppose, David, if we had this conversation a year from now, we'd still be talking about President Aquino?
I think we would, without much doubt. I had doubts 6 months ago, 4 months ago, because she was having so much problem from all different directions. But I think a turning point was her trip to the United States. She seemed to grow into the job. She seemed to become less a reluctant candidate, more a president on that trip. I was here in Manila while she was in Washington. We went out to dinner one night, my wife and I, and there was a waitress in the restaurant with a name tag said Corey. And just as a little joke, I said, "You're not Corey, Corey's in the United States." And she just swelled up with pride. She said, "Yes, sir, she is." And her speech before Congress was very clever. Yeah. She wasn't asking my opinion, she was telling me. Yeah. So I think that says a lot.
All right, optimistic report from Manila from David Jackson. Thank you very much, David.
Thanks, Joe.
This portion of Sunday Morning is sponsored by delicious Citrus Hills Select Orange Juice. It gets your juices flowing.
If the only juice you've had started out with Mom and Dad, then you're really missing out on what Citrus Hill's about. And your day gets going and your juices get flowing. Citrus Hills Select will open your eyes. It's that tingle on the lip, it's that dazzle in the sip. Citrus Hills Select gets your juices flowing. Well, we're picky how we choose them and we're picky how we use them, 'cause we squeeze our OJ straight from the heart. It's the taste so fresh and sweet, you feel it right down to your feet. Citrus Hills Select gets your juices flowing. Citrus Hills Select gets your juices flowing.
The day's looking new and bright. It is. And you're gonna start it right. I am. 'Cause there's Folgers for you that's decaffeinated too. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Decaffeinated? And I'm waking up?
Nothing brightens your morning like mountain-grown Folgers decaffeinated. Mountain-grown coffee beans have more enticing aroma and richer flavor than any other kind.
With Folgers so rich and good, the day starts like it should.
And one, and two, and one, and two.
The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
The day's really shaping up.
Satellites need maintenance and refueling. So McDonnell Douglas is helping NASA plan a space station that will be an ideal satellite service center. Communities asked for peace and quiet, so we developed a tail rotor that cuts our helicopter's noise in half. Aerospace plane designers need a low-cost way to test ideas. Our simulators evaluate flight systems before they're built. We are creating breakthroughs in aviation, space, and information systems. We're McDonnell Douglas.
The life of Frank Morgan has been like a blues song, filled with pain and sadness, bright hope broken on the rocks of a difficult life. But as Brent Alexander is about to tell you, things are looking up for Frank Morgan. His life these days is better than the blues.
It is New York City, and Frank Morgan is having his long-delayed debut at the Village Vanguard. He's been away from a jazz scene for the last 35 years, but now Frank Morgan is making up for wasted time.
I thank God that these opportunities are available for me. At 53 years old, I mean, it's beautiful to have not just a resurgence in your career, because my career never got this far, just to have really a new life and a new career.
When you hear Frank Morgan play his horn, it's easy to understand why he's enjoying a surge in popularity. His alto saxophone style is uniquely supple and lyrical, and frequently invokes thoughts of saxophone legend, the late Charlie Parker.
I believe that it's possible and even recommended to play the blues on everything. To play everything you play with, maybe with a blues feeling. I certainly try to do that.
Frank Morgan's life has been symbolized by great promise and even greater failure. His father was a jazz guitarist, nightclub owner in Los Angeles, and a good friend of Charlie Parker. Parker was one of the originators of bebop, and Morgan idolized him.
I learned many, many beautiful things. Even today, I learned many things from Charlie Parker because I'm just catching up to some of the things that he said to me.
At 17, Frank Morgan played so well, people were calling him the new Charlie Parker. That year, Morgan was first scheduled to make his debut in New York. Instead, he made a debut of a different kind, of a darker kind. As a heroin addict, eventually a check forger, eventually a convict.
Instead of practicing hard, and living right to ensure, that I could do the best that I could, I chose the very thing that would ensure certain failure.
Frank Morgan says he's never going back to prison or heroin. Off parole since December, off heroin for a couple of years, he's making a new life in Oakland for himself and his longtime friend, Rosalinda Kolb.
It's so great to be in position to do that, to have a house where she has some wall space, and to have a little money, to be clean, enough to be able to enjoy it and feel secure at home and have an opportunity to be home, when you want to. I gotta go to work.
Time to go to work.
Opportunities abound now for Frank Morgan. He has recently recorded several albums. He's been invited to perform in Europe. Pianist Cedar Walton says there is a lot of freshness to Morgan's sound.
Here's a guy who's been off the scene a considerable amount of time, and you can tell that through this music he has really, endured this time away from freedom.
Frank Morgan has been in and out of jail since 1953. In 1962, he was sent here to San Quentin, where he prospered by playing with what he now calls the best big band he's ever been involved with.
Many fine players were there at the time that I was there. It was a professional, quality band.
Were the other inmates interested in your music?
Oh, yes, yes. In fact, some of the most appreciative audience, until recently, some of the most appreciative audiences that I'd ever experienced were right in the prisons. You know?
Is that right?
I mean, it's
they
like
the music.
Yeah, they
That's
really
good.
liked it. They had time to listen to it, I guess you might say.
Morgan did recently return to San Quentin, but this time just for a visit.
Yeah. Glad you make it. Yeah, I'm having, good. Thank you, brother. You know. Look better than blues, bro. Yeah, thank you. It feels better. Right. How's it look for you? I got light. I became accustomed to being like a superstar in prison. I had a good, I was a poll winner.
Is that good or bad? I don't know.
Well, it was bad because it made prison more comfortable for me than the outside world. Mm-hmm. I was, outside, I was a little fish in a big pond, outside. But inside the prisons, I was like, instantly when I walked in, I was, well, Frank's back.
We'd like to slow the tempo down and play another tribute to Charlie Parker. Since I can't build a statue, we'd like to play Parker's Mood. I was a pot smoker at 9 or 10, I was prepared. My whole thinking was preparing me probably to becoming an addict.
Was it partially because Parker had been known to be an addict?
I didn't have sense enough to understand that he was against me being an addict, although he was,
What was his response when you told him that you were an addict?
He felt very bad. He wanted to cry, He was saying, well, can't you see what it did to me, I thought you had, enough sense to avoid that, and I was surprised. I thought he was kidding.
Morgan sees himself as a crusader for clean living, and he wants to spread his message to young people. Recently, he appeared at a free concert for Oakland high school students. Morgan says he's making up for past mistakes.
I didn't accept my responsibility to those children. You know, I didn't go out into the schools and play for nothing to show them what jazz was. I didn't go talk to them. I didn't give them a very good example of what a jazz musician did. Showing up for life every day. I'm present, you know, and I'm accounted for, and I'm a saxophone player, and I'm ready to play, and I'm clean, I'm sober, and I'm willing, and I do it with love.
Sometimes getting car financing turns out to be one long hassle.
What kind of car did you have in mind?
A Fiero.
Oh, an Italian car.
It's a Pontiac from General Motors.
They make Chevrolets, Oldsmobiles, Buicks, Cadillacs.
GMC trucks.
This is none of my business, but those are not Italian cars.
Make it easy on yourself. Finance your car or truck right at your GM dealer with GMAC.
You understand, we do have to know what you want to do with all these cars.
Nobody knows more about financing and leasing cars than GMAC.
Taste this.
The whole thing?
Uh-huh.
That's a big crunch for such a little thing.
That little thing's packed with goodness.
I can believe it with a crunch like that. It's got a nice nutty taste.
And it has no added sugar or preservatives.
There's no room.
Huh.
What are these little things?
Grape nut cereal.
Grape nuts? I could go for a whole bowl full.
You got it.
Have a bowl of crunchy, nutty, packed with goodness grape nuts today.
Stovetop stuffing in canisters makes a lot or a little in one easy step.
When you want dishes quick and delicious, you can be flexible with Stovetop tonight.
It's the right stuff, always enough. It's great for me at home with the TV.
Have it for you or fix it for two more. It serves from 1 to 8 just right. Be flexible with Stovetop tonight.
In flexible serve canisters.
This new Bonneville really moves, huh?
Let me tell you.
We built a sleek, new driving machine.
New Bonneville.
Sports sedan, huh? How's it handle?
Let me tell you.
Built with the feel for the road.
New Bonneville.
That motor vehicle's pretty powerful, isn't it? Well, I really couldn't say. Well, let me tell you.
We built excitement.
Bonneville.
Another report has come in while we've been on the air, another unconfirmed report that Anglican envoy Terry Waite has been freed. This one comes from the Voice of Lebanon Radio, which is sometimes wrong. It is reporting that Waite has been handed over to the Syrians at the town of Shatira on the Syrian-Lebanese border. If you look at the nation of Kiribati on a map, what you see are tiny dots in a big ocean, the Pacific. Before we leave you this morning, we're going to visit one of those dots. It's just a little place, but for the sculpted white fairy terns and the darker sooty terns, this little place is home. I'm Charles Kuralt. I hope you'll join us here again next Sunday morning.
This is Leslie Stahl. Death threats against American hostages, Lebanese leader Navi Berri, and ambassadors from Iran and Israel on Face the Nation today.
Today, it's an all-out 50-mile sprint in Daytona, the Busch Clash. Then the upset-minded Wolverines of Michigan will try to topple second-ranked Indiana, fueled by the finesse of Steve Alford and the fury of Bobby Knight. Followed by the ultimate playground contest, the NBA All-Star Game. See it all today on CBS Sports.
Kids and crime. The criminals are younger and the crimes they commit more dangerous than ever.
We've had kids who are 10 years old with Grand Theft Auto charges, and one's pushing the gas pedals and the other is sitting up on the seat driving.
A public nuisance or a national tragedy? Bernard Goldberg reports tomorrow on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
This is CBS.
It's a February flash from Conway Buick. For a limited time, get up to $1,200 cash back on options. That's right, up to $1,200 cash back, and now get a 6-year, 60,000-mile warranty and a 6-year, 100,000-mile corrosion protection. Our selection is great. Over 200 new Buicks in stock. Up to $1,200 cash back, an impressive warranty, and our huge selection make now the best time to buy a new Buick. It's a February flash at Iowa's largest Buick dealer, Conway Buick, 17th and Ingersoll, Des Moines.
This week on Midday,
We'll check out the Urbandale Community Band as they prepare for a concert.
hear the insurance side of the story on higher cost and cancellations.
Brush up our Shakespeare with visiting scholar Maurice Daniels.
Tell you about benefits for big brothers, big sisters, and for a warm-hearted bear named Amanda.
We'll take you to the spectacular Home and Garden Show.
Find homes for animals.
And tell you how to win tickets to the Harlem Globetrotters game.
This and more on Midday.
Join us.